Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching this. My name is Marcus Octavius, and you are not in the Foxxhole, actually. But this is more of a Foxxhole Directive type deal. What this is a 5-part series of instructional videos. 4 recorded, 1 will be live on YouTube sometime the end of this month, probably the beginning of June. And it's essentially an attempt for me to explain my side of the performance world, the things I have seen, the things that I have learned. Some of this is very opinionated. I'm going to be very honest. Some of it you may not agree with. Some of it is a perspective that you may not even have considered. So, with that being said, excuse me, please keep in mind that a lot of this has come from my own personal experience and things that I have seen. So, in the comments section, please be gentle. I'm sensitive. The first of these famous ones is entertaining as a musician. And in the process of looking back at a lot of my history, it also became sort of entertaining as a musician slash what to wear, basically. For me, when I started out in the belly dance world. My background is in Mideast percussion, as some of you may know. Excuse me. And the thing about it was, there were a lot of things that I had seen that made me go, okay, well, let's gear it more towards what I'm comfortable wearing. In the process, I became less of a percussionist, or rather I should say, on top of being a percussionist, I became a bit of an entertainer. So now we're talking some theatrics, some outfits, a little bit more than usual than you would get out of a standard Mideast percussionist, and things therein. So thus the changing of the title. What I've done is I've marked out what I consider to be 5 very good points to hit on and talk about in the process of the whole thing, and how you, and this is something especially for beginner performers, for people who are just starting out in perhaps bands, or are belly dancers who are maybe 6 months deep, a year deep, who have not yet hit the stage. Now, of course, if you're in a belly dance class, you probably have a teacher who you can go to and consult, or you can cite this video. You can say it's treasure, you can say it's trash. I personally am not sure how that would work, but just keep this in mind. This is, a personal reference of a sort. The first thing I'm going to mark, and there are no in any particular order, just take them as you see fit. The first thing I would like to start on is setting a standard. Now, in the Twitter link below is a Twitter post that has some of my very early outfits. And it's a matter of understanding not only setting a standard as to looking apart, but also knowing the show you're performing. And knowing the show is something I'm going to get to at the very end. Excuse me. Where it draws the line for me is, when you start out, it's nice to have something relatively simple. This is something that I'm personally wearing that was what I consider to be my summer gig wear, which is, a shirt and a vest, something nice. It doesn't have to be flashy. It doesn't necessarily have to be flamboyant, unless the show you're playing at or performing at calls for it. I would start out with 3 interchangeable outfits, and I use that term very specifically, interchangeable outfits, because for the most part, color coordination is one of those things that some people are good at, some people are not. But you may have a specific skirt or a pair of pants that look better with a shirt. It's good to have a set of outfits that you can gig in that doesn't necessarily have to be dry cleaned, that are not expensive. You can work your way up to the expensive stuff, but you need nice clothing to start with, as far as I'm concerned. Something that doesn't get talked about a whole lot is if for some dancers, a costume breaks down, the whole screaming of, does somebody have a safety pin, or things of that nature. Musicians don't really deal with that sort of thing. But if you're on stage and you're shredding the guitar, beating on the drums, you can sweat through your clothes real quick. Let me tell you. But it doesn't hurt to have a backup outfit. You can show up in what you're planning to perform in, but wardrobe malfunctions happen to all of us. So it's nice to have a set of clothes to bring with you, excuse me, so that you can have that option available. So, 3 interchangeables, 2 go to any show. Now, if you're feeling particularly ambitious, you can just bring your outfit and, God be with you, I suppose. And the third one is sort of an emergency backup. And the emergency backup is sort of like, okay, it's not the ideal outfit, but for doing what I need to do, it can get the job done. And that's sort of the approach that you have to take. Now, you get a lot of people who are relatively perfectionists. They're like, well, I have to have the most expensive outfit. No, you don't. You really, really don't. I say that because a lot of people who buy the most expensive outfits, and I use this term very, very gregariously, I suppose is the word, and I could be wrong. I'll probably get comments on it. The bottom line is that if you have an outfit that's nice, it'll work. You don't need to achieve, these levels of like sequins and glue-on gems and all this stuff yet. Work your way up to that. Have a nice, steady outfit that you can go out and perform in. Really as much as possible. You at the end of the day, if it looks nice, that's great. If it's more durable, I think that would be far, far more useful. I know plenty of friends from the belly dance world. They've sold their used outfits mainly because they look great, but they were also durable. So there you have it. Number 2, have as many pics of your different outfits as possible. Mainly to either improve or change for things of that nature, and also look at outfits that are similar to yours. Excuse me. Compare, contrast, see, okay, well, this scarf is nice, but I could probably do better. But you want as many pics of your outfits as possible. Not necessarily your performance. That's a performance type thing. I'm talking about your outfit itself. Excuse me. I don't know what's going on. It's very, very warm. But you do, because, you may think that the outfit's a great idea, and then you look at a picture and you go, ooh, bad idea. Bad idea. Number 3, expand. Once you have an idea of what works for you, what you're comfortable in, then you can start to branch out, I feel, into more elaborate costumes, especially if you're a solo performer. But you don't want to start out with like the big, lavish outfits. You want to start to, like I say, set a standard. Like, this is what's expected of me as a performer. The pictures prove it. And as such, this is, the standard that it is. Looks good, durable, not overly expensive. When you have a big show, then you can bring out the lavish outfits. Then you can go all Elton John or David Bowie, at least in my honest opinion. When it comes to expanding, again, look at pictures and listen to a lot of people who own these outfits. They are the ones who have invested the money first, so they can tell you, hey, it was worth it. Hey, it was not. Excuse me. And like I said, definitely ask advice about sewing and stitching and things of that nature. Number 4, invest and set a new standard. And what I mean by that is, in terms of if you're branching out as a performer, and you decide that you don't want to do like these standard, at least in my terms, come out in like some of these standard, more Arabic looking jackets or covers. You want to do something a little different. Be creative. Be creative. Look at the kind of music you listen to and see, okay, well, what can I do with that? But before COVID hit, one of the things that I was gaining a little bit of traction on, it's still being tweaked, is the Deadpool the Dandy Highwayman. A lot of people have seen me perform to Adamant Stand and Deliver, and that was something that I personally thought up because I was looking to set a new standard for myself, become more of a entertainer and not just a drummer. I was thinking be creative, be bold, step out, consider all your options. And really, this is about thinking outside the box. You want to look at things and say, okay, what have I done? What have I not done yet that I could do? And thus go from there. Finally, number 5 is know your show. For a lot of people, if you know the audience, if you know the show, you know exactly how to dress. Now, some people may show up to a particular performance and they may do their standard thing. But what I have found is that the people who are usually remembered the most are the people who sort of gear towards the theme of a particular show. One of which I remember in Charlotte, Concord, was We Will Rock You. And it was very much rooted in modern music with a varying degrees. I mean, I've heard Prince, I heard Motorhead, I heard a lot of people dance, and myself, I drummed to a U2 song, performed to a wide variety of music, just a wide variety of music. And as such, it was definitely a stepping out the box. And consider this, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about things that can help you to grow as a performer. We're talking about things that can help you develop as a performer. It's all right to be scared. What I personally feel is that when you let the fear dictate where you go really nowhere. So consider everything I've said, and please, listen back, look at this, and try to grow as a performer. Now, I know nowadays it's kind of hard to grow as a performer because there's nowhere to really perform except for the internet. But even then, you have the luxury of being at home, so you don't have to lug all your outfits all over the place. Take the opportunity to really sit down and look at where you're at as a performer and where you can grow outfit-wise. Performance-wise, different video. But look at what your outfits are and think, okay, well, what can I do? What can I add to what I do to make it more special? And that is it. Costume and presentations, thank you very much. Please like, share, subscribe. All the links are down below. There is also a tweet with a lot of my pictures in it from my early days when I wore the red and black jacket. Also an outfit similar to this, and also more recent photos from when I've done the Deadpool routine, and everything mixed in. It's a wide variety of stuff. We're talking shows in Asheville, shows in Charlotte, Columbia. I think there's even one from Atlanta, from Dragon Con a few years ago, when I think I was drumming as a pirate. I was a drumming pirate. It's it's a thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's a thing. So once again, please like, share, subscribe. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Twitter. All the links are down below. Thank you very much, and together we rise.